to day 14 of the spring countdown box. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Ooh, and I think we got some decals. Yes, so these are going to be, one of these is going to be our focal point on our card. I'm thinking I'm going to use the Happy Easter for the sentiment, and we're going to use this little guy right here. So let's get my scissors. I'm going to cut them down. These are like a little glossy sticker. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off. All right, so we're going to use those. I'll save these for another project. Let's go ahead and use that spring countdown paper pad again. Let's see if we can find, I'm thinking maybe I'll do the polka dots, and I'm going to do the stripes this time. And I need to grab a card base because this isn't going to take a lot of time. Okay, I got an A2 card panel here, and what I like to do for something like this is we're going to cut these directly in half. It's going to be kind of similar to yesterday's card. What I'm going to do is cut this in half right at 2 inches. Save these for another project. You could totally use one piece of paper because you could use, you could use this. You could use this, like this. So you could totally do that, but I'm going to use the stripes and the polka dots. And I want the polka dots at the bottom, the stripes at the top. We're going to get our Happy Easter, but we're going to get a little strip here. And I think I'm going to pull in, some of that lima bean from the other day because I have a piece still stick here. I think that'll be fun to add that here. So I just need a little 4-inch, because I know my pattern paper is 4 inches. I'm going to do 1 inch, which will just tie those pieces together real nice like this, because we can just kind of move them over a little bit. We might trim them down just a hair. It looks like my card panel here is a little too small. Yeah, that's not a 4 1/4, so let's get that. Here, I got another piece of cardstock here. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Start with card panel. You guys know me, I like to make my cards on a card panel, and then if I can put them on a card base when I am ready for them. But we're gonna move it down. Okay, I don't like that. So I'm changing my mind. We're gonna use this piece, which is 1 1/2 inches, because I want to cover that. Like I said, if you had the same piece of paper and you wanted, if you wanted this to match, like we wanted to do this, which we could totally do. So you could put that right through the middle, and as long as you line it up, nobody's going to know that you didn't have a full sheet. But I am going to use 2 patterns. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to cut it down to, let's see, we're going to measure our, so it's 1 to about 3 inches. So I'm going to do 3 1/2 by, I'm going to do 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and cut this, kind of fussy cut this out a little bit. I'm not going to be like super fabulous with it. So I'm just going to show you just a quick fussy cut around, because it does have a shiny edge, which will just act like the border. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I try not to think about it too much when I'm fussy cutting, because then I don't have to worry about it so much. Kind of go in here, clean that up just a little bit. Clean that one up just a little bit right there. And we're going to go ahead and pull this off. See, it has that clear backing. We're just going to go ahead and center that directly on our panel. Just like that. And that will be our card. And then we need a sentiment. And I think what we'll do for our sentiment, if I figure out where I stuck the Happy Easter, will it fit on here? It will. So we're gonna do the same thing with this. We're just gonna fussy cut this piece around. So this card came together fairly quickly. I didn't think about it a whole lot, especially if you're making cards out of something like this box. Keep all of the elements as you're creating together, and the same, you know, the card stocks, the scrap pieces. That tends to help me create faster cards because I can grab elements that were left over, or, you know, I've got coordinating, oh, what's going on here? Let's see if it's gonna, nice. There it is. Okay. So this is like a layered sticker. It's like the vinyl is underneath, so I had to pull that just carefully off. I'm curious to know if that's more of like a transfer sheet then. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna do it real careful because if it starts to peel off, yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know if the whole thing is like that or if it's just for these letters. It's kind of like if you have a transfer sheet with Cricut and vinyl. Well, it's working for this one anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and peel that extra off, which is fabulous. I did not know it did that. See how it, and then we're gonna trim that down just a little bit, just so it's a little more even. Let's see if this does that too. I'm gonna do it very carefully. It might. It is more of a transfer. So I'm gonna grab my bone folder here and rub it really good around the edges, which is nice because then you don't have to worry about your fussy cutting so much. It's kind of like a rub-on, but without it being a rub-on. And then I'm just gonna very carefully, gotta make sure it sticks. Just kind of being careful. There we go. Especially on those edges. Pull gently around the edges. Sorry, this is taking a little longer, but I want you to see how, pull the edges very gently because you can get some of that kind of pop up. And you want to keep the white edges down. So I would say don't cut it, fussy cut it so close. I'm also going to grab my little pick stick here because that will help kind of, you can kind of go in like that. And then, okay, so I cut it a little close in those couple spots. You can see where it tore just a little bit. Ugh, that tore a lot right there. Okay, well, we may end up fussy cutting this out afterwards. Yep, it tore quite a bit around the edges up there and in there. So what I think you could do is you could take a very nice little marker and kind of shadow line around it. When you're live doing this, it's sometimes the edges, you know, you hurry. But I did want to show you, this is how you can go around the edges of the sticker. It's going to give it a little bit of a shadow, and it's going to camouflage. And what we're going to do is we're just going around the edges all the way. I hope I'm on camera here. I want to make sure. Do this with a light marker of any kind. You could do a light green marker. You could do a light gray marker, a light pink, a light purple, any color you want. I'm just using this little blue marker here that I like to use kind of as my shadow. Just kind of go in there like this. And then what I'll do is I will take my 0 marker and go around the edges very quickly. I'm not scrubbing it or anything. I'm just going to go around the edges. And it will just kind of fade it out. Nothing fancy. Now it's wet right now, so you can kind of see those edges, especially down here at the bottom. But you could go out like this, and it's just going to slowly fade those edges away. And that works for me. Add some splatter if you really want to. Now I'm going to bring this up close. You can see where I ended up tearing those kind of pieces, but I don't know if you can kind of see it from far away or not. I am not even going to worry about it, bringing attention to it. If you take your time, you can get it perfect like that. So let's get that. Like I said, I went a little quick at the end there, but that works. So let's go ahead and glue these down. Go ahead and put this, I'm going to get adhesive to everything so I can put my adhesive gun away. I can't believe today is the last day of our countdown. I hope you had a great time seeing me create cards, some of them fairly quick. Some took a little extra time, maybe let it dry, like when I use the chroma glaze, or you know, things like that. Like I will link everything, like always, I will always link everything below that is available for purchase outside of the box. Those will be affiliate links, which just mean if you place an order using one of my links, I get a small kickback or commission, I guess would be the right way to say it, which just helps me bring you content. I'm just eyeballing the sides here. Hopefully I got those lined up. Just like that. And then we'll put this piece down right in the center. Actually, we'll go up a little bit higher. And then I've got my sentiment that can go down right here. And there we go. There's our day 14. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for sticking with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.